Hello, my dear second PUC students. Hope you are all doing well. This is my first class of zoology for your second PUC. I just wanted to tell you few things before I start the class. Well, first PUC you people have cleared, maybe by the grace of Corona, but second year will be slightly difficult for you. So like as we have trained you last year, I request you all to maintain a notebook. 100 pages or a 200 pages notebook for biology, and zoology and botany you can divide. And this is an offline class for you. Because last year when we were having online classes, we came across many hurdles. Some of the rural students were not able to get connected with the internet, and they had little knowledge regarding Google Classroom and other teaching app. So we plan to start with this pre-recorded classes. The advantages is you can watch anytime, any number of times. Because in most of the houses we had a complaint that parents were having a single phone, a smartphone, and 2-3 children were there, and they were having online classes at a time. So the timetable was getting coincided with one another. So this even you can watch at midnight, whatever it is. Like last year, you have to maintain your notebook neatly, and regarding record, we'll let you know later, but you have to purchase 200 pages merit record what you did last year. This I've informed you when you had come to submit your assignment. I gave you information, and I also said your friends to inform your classmates. So purchase the record, don't write anything until we give you instruction. So notes part you keep on writing, and once the class is open, we will value it. And if government asks us to value it as an assignment, we may have to allot marks. So write neatly and maintain your biology book neat. And in the assignment, I was not at all happy. Even though you were copied, you were not knowing knowing to write, how to write differences and how to write the points. General characters, you did not name it A, B, C, D, E, F, or 1, 2, 3, 4. And even when there was differences, you did not write the differences properly. You failed to discriminate how to write a difference and points. So all these small things will make you to lose marks. So hence you are in second PUC. I request you to write neatly and follow basic rules. Fine. So we'll start up with today's class. Dear students, I have chosen a topic which you get more interest in listening. And any moment you can just I will be sharing you the screen now, and you can copy down whatever it is, but you can also pause and copy down what the points you want, right? And if at all you come across any doubts, whatever it is, you will be writing notes after every class. You will be writing the notes. Hardly it may take 20 to 30 minutes. You will be writing it in your biology notebook. And study material you can come and purchase in the college. And all the points I will be displaying on the screen, because most of the rural students and students from other states cannot come and purchase the notes. So I will be displaying the points. So in between I'll be mentioning. You can pause and take a screenshot and make it as a note. Fine. So I'll get into the class. So let me share the screen for you. Well, dear students, I have chosen chapter 13, organisms and population. This is a vast topic, and we come across different stages in the topic. Slightly difficult part, easy part, and the things which are very easy but difficult to memorize and write in the examination. So everything what you need is strong concentration while listening to the class. And if at all you get any doubt, rewind it and again you can listen. Dear students, you know that I used to love writing on the board, using the board with different colors of chalk, starting from this end to that end. Maybe the board is at my background and you may be missing the classroom session now. But unfortunately, due to some clarity problem, I'm using this PowerPoint and I'm trying to make it as much as interesting as possible for you to keep attentive in the class. And you also know that usually I was not using any chart. I used to draw the diagram and I used to make you write in the class, and I was monitoring you and I was asking you to draw two times. Most of you were happy and most of you were very much interested, and I saw most of you improved your drawing skills also in that particular classes. So here also, whenever I say there is an important diagram, do draw the diagram neatly twice. Understood? Welcome to the zoology class, chapter 13, organisms and population, session 1. So beginning of this topic, we need to know a definition called ecology. Maybe a common term you might have heard. When I was studying in bachelor degree, I used to have like 10 to 12 definitions regarding ecology. Different authors had given different definition, but as a student, I remember one definition, but that definition is not there in the textbook, and I have said you last year itself, strictly definitions you have to mug up from the textbook, not from any other thing, or else from our study material. You are not supposed to write your own definition. Why? Because if you miss out one key term in the definition, you will lose the marks. Because 1 mark definitions, if you make a mistake, you will get 0 and there will be no concession for you. So ecology definition, as I said, what a definition I remember is the study of organism. It's a branch of biology that deals with the study of organisms in relation to its environment. That is a standard definition all over, they accept it. But the definition what you should memorize is there on your screen. Subject which studies the interaction among organisms and between the organism and its physical abiotic environment. Anta helidre interaction between organism, prani gidagalu, okay, organisms naduve, organisms can be plant and animal, anyone, okay, interaction between the organism and these organisms along with the environment. Okay, now organisms you can see living things, and if you see physical factors, the environment is a non-living thing. So both two types of interaction you see in ecology. One is in between the organisms, it can be interspecific or intraspecific, and these organisms with the environment. So these two type of interaction we are going to study in detail in this entire chapter. So definition is there on your screen. Now ecological is basically concerned with 4 levels of biological organization, 4 important levels. What are they? We have to study organisms, population. We are going to study in detail along with the definition one after the other. Communities. Communities you are going to study in detail in a botany class. And finally, we are going to study regarding biome. So these are the 4 levels of biological organization that we are going to study in our future classes. So you can just take a you can just pause and take a screenshot and make a note of this one neatly in your biology book. Moving on to the next slide, organisms and its environment. Dear students, now for another 10-15 minutes we are going through introduction of this topic. Most of the points may not be important from the examination point of view, but you need to know it at least once when you are studying this topic. So to speak about certain introduction regarding the topic, organism and its environment, if you look into the first point, it says that the physiological or environmental variation along with the yearly annual variation will form a major role in precipitation of species. That means it also affects the habitats, formation of habitats where the organisms live. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಿಸಿಯಾಲಜಿಕಲ್ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್, ಈ ವಾತಾವರಣಗಳ ಚೇಂಜಸ್, ಅದು ಮತ್ತೆ ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗುವಂತ ಸೀಸನ್ಸ್ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು will affect the habitat and the organisms what they live there. Regional and local variations within each biome lead to the formation of wild. So regional, seasonal, ಮತ್ತೆ jaga, regional means the spaces. There also, due to the variation, you find different types of organisms and different types of habitat. In the third point, we can see the abiotic factors like temperature, soil, light and water play a vital role for the organisms to live, for the development of habit, for the maintenance of habitat. So they also play a major role in the variation. Fine. And then in the last point you can concentrate. Actually, I want you to concentrate more on the last point, because the starting 3 points we are going to study in detail, and it's just like an introduction. So if you see here, this temperature, water, light and soil, this is quite natural abiotic factors what we have studied. In your school days only you have studied, right? Biotic factors and abiotic factors, right? Abiotic factors means the living organisms and abiotic factors are the non-living organisms. That's what you have studied. But here in the fourth point you see, apart from these physiochemical or abiotic components, concentrate on the words what I am going to circulate now. In the interaction of organisms, that's what we studied ecology. Interaction between the organisms and interaction between the organisms and the environment. So till now we were discussing the normal facts, but now you see we have come across a word called as pathogen. What is this pathogen? Last year, if you remember, I mentioned you in speaking about phylum Arthropoda. Pathogen means the organisms which causes disease. The word patho means disease, gen means causing. Pathogens, parasites. What are parasites? The organisms which depend on host organisms for food and shelter, right? Predators, the organisms which attack and eat. And finally, competitors. Predators and competitors we are going to study in detail at the latter part of this topic. Pathogens. Now, why we are discussing pathogens, parasites again? Now, pathogens and parasites, I can tell according to me, they are directly proportional to one another. Now, for example, if you take parasite, I will take a mosquito. Mosquito will come just sit on you, suck the blood, and not only it is feeding on your blood, but also it transfers disease. That's why we call them as vectors, disease carriers. And it releases plasmodium and it causes malaria. So malaria, plasmodium forms the pathogen and mosquito forms the vector. So you can see parasites and pathogens are almost proportional, okay, directly related to one another. Predators and competitors. Now, why we are discussing this in detail? Why? Because in this habitat on this earth, these things, pathogens, parasites, predators and competitors also play a major role in determining the habitat and interaction between the organism and its environment. So hope you have some clear idea regarding this slide or the screen. Slide in the sense the screen what is there in your computer or mobile what you are seeing. The screen what you are seeing now, I call it a slide because I have prepared a PowerPoint. So each photo or whatever it is, I call it as a slide. Now you can pause this and take a screenshot and neatly you can write it down. I'll move to the next slide. Now biome, as I said, this biome definition, if you see, this definition I took it from internet. I took it from internet from a textbook. Biological definition. So there is no exact definition. As I said, even in ecology, there is no exact definition that you should follow only one. But why am I suggesting is in your Karnataka prescribed textbook, there is only one definition and you are supposed to read only that definition. Likewise, for biome definition also, there is no strict single definition. And there is no definition in your textbook also. This definition I just took to explain you. It's a major ecological community of organism adapted to a particular climatic or environmental condition. That means these organisms, in the sense both, it can be plants or animals, which are adapted to live in that particular conditions only, not everywhere, on a large geographic area in which they occur. And I also want you to concentrate on this definition, a very, very important definition. The same definition I will be repeating in biodiversity topic also. Niche. Ecology, I said. Ecology means what I said. It is the study of an organism with relation to its environment. Right? Now, if you read niche, the definition is actually slightly big and it is not that exactly easily understanding. Each organism has an invariable defined range of conditions that it can tolerate, diversity in the resource it utilizes, and a distinct functional role in the ecological system. I'll say it in short. Ecology means, for example, think you're studying tiger, study of an organism. Organism is tiger with relation to its environment. Its environment, for example, we will take tiger lives in Bandipur forest. Bandipur forest, why am I taking? Because it is closer to Mysore. Or any favorite forest you can take. Study of an organism with relation to its environment. Study of tiger organism with relation to its environment. So tiger lives in Bandipur forest. That is called as ecology. Or you can take deer also. Study of deer. Deer is an organism which lives in forest. So this is ecology. Niche is an advanced definition, one step ahead. Now, study of tiger with relation to its environment. Plus you have to add one more point. Not only the tiger is living in that forest, not only the tiger is living in that Bandipur forest, but what are the responsibilities it is taking on? Tiger is living there, it is predating means attacking and eating on those deers. It is attacking and eating on some buffaloes. Right? It is attacking and eating on mountain goats. By eating this deer, mountain goats, buffaloes, what tiger is doing? The tiger is bringing down the overpopulation of these particular species. What happens when these overpopulated animals are eaten up by tiger? It avoids overgrazing of the plant population. Vegetation will not be overgrazed. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? ಸೊ ಟೈಗರ್ ಜಿಂಕೆನ ತಿನ್ನೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಜಿಂಕೆದ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ನ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಜಿಂಕೆದ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಅದು ಓವರ್ ಗ್ರೇಸಿಂಗ್, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ತಿಂದಾಕೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So what happens at the end? Finally, the tiger is maintaining an ecological balance. Got it? So now once again I tell, what is ecology? Ecology is the study of organism with relation to its environment. But when we speak about niche, not only you are studying about the organism, but you are also studying the distinct, well-defined functional role played by that particular organism in the ecological system. Understood? So these definitions are very, very important, and most of them get confused thinking both the definition are same, but both are totally different definition, that is ecology and niche. The same definition I will be explaining, or we will be discussing. There is nothing to explain, only the definition you have to read it. Indeed you have to mug up, that's it. Fine. Moving on to the examples for major biomes of India. I just read out Rajasthan desert. Most probably everybody have seen desert of Rajasthan. Rain-soaked Meghalaya forest. Deep ocean trenches. If you don't know, I'm going to show you. Torrential streams. Permafrost polar region. High mountain tops. Boiling thermal springs. And stinking compost pits. We'll see how it looks. I've just collected few photos to make your mind clear how exactly Rajasthan desert looks. You can see now, this is the first one is Rajasthan. Rajasthan desert. So desert, most of you will be seeing, have seen, and you have an idea. So the second one you can see, this second one is rain-soaked Meghalaya forest. You can see thick vegetation and covered with clouds and too much of rain. And you can also see, due to heavy rain, you can see many streams, falls, waterfalls you can see there. Fine. And the third one, deep ocean trenches. This one. Deep ocean trenches means the one which is at the bottom. You can see this shape. ಒಂದು ಮೋರಿ ತರ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅಂಡರ್ ದಿ ವಾಟರ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಟ್ರೆಂಚ್ or passage. Can you see that V shape? There is, so why we are seeing these photos and why we are studying regarding this means Rajasthan desert forms habitat for many plants and animals. Meghalaya, rain-soaked Meghalaya forest forms habitat or living place for many plants and animals. So the animals which live, for example, the animals which live in one will not live in two. The organisms which live in two will not live in three. Vice versa. Okay, so deep ocean trenches also accommodates certain organisms and it gives life, and there is also a cycle, biological cycle going on. So these are all found in India I am speaking about. Fine. And fourth, torrential streams. Torrential streams, harkondu hogtaro nadi. Okay, so even if you see that one also, it accommodates numerous life forms. Permafrost polar regions. Polar you forget. Permafrost. Perma refers to ice. Ice irtadalla adu. You can see this one. You can see this fifth one. It is having fully the regions covered with ice. So there also we find certain organisms adapted and living successfully. And it gives habitat for some organisms which can live only there, not anywhere in the earth. And high mountain tops, the sixth one, high mountain tops. There are certain places in India, you may be knowing, where these places are the living place of some humans. I'm speaking about humans now. For example, you can take a simple example, Ooty, Kodaikanal and all. If you see, people live on mountain tops. Fine, that is a small example you can see, but for humans you can see, but there are certain forests with high mountain tops which accommodates numerous life forms, including both plants and animals, to live there. Okay, and seventh one, you can see here, thermal springs. Thermal means temperature, heat. Springs. If you see this water, that will be hot water. Bisneer tara irtade. Bisneer odu. Certain places you will be having boiling, certain places you will be having just hot water like. Okay, in this also certain microscopic organisms live successfully, that also forms an habitat for most of the organisms. And the last one is unique, strange. Stinking compost pit. Stinking vasne. Okay, stinking compost pit. This, why am I telling, is important because this is man-made structure, and even though it is man-made, when it starts stinking and start getting decomposed, this particular structure will form habitat for numerous microorganisms and for other organisms. Now, to brush up, in this slide, if you see the examples for major biomes of India, there are 8 major biomes of India what we saw in the images now. The animals and plants adapted to a particular or a specific biome will not survive in other biomes. Got it? For example, kangaroo is well suited for desert biome, not for a high mountain top. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಬಯೋಮ್ಗೆ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತ ಅನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಸರ್ವೈವ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರನೇ ನಾವು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ತರ ಬಯೋಮ್ಸ್ ನ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡುದು. ಈ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಬಯೋಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ತರವಾದ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ಫುಲಿ ಬದುಕ್ತವೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಮೊಮೆಂಟ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಪಾಸ್ ದ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್, take a screenshot. I'll move to the next slide. Now there is a graph in front of you. This graph usually is not that important from examination point of view, but I've seen this graph in many model question papers. So what you can see in this graph, biome distribution with respect to annual temperature and precipitation. One side you can see mean annual precipitation, the other side you can see mean annual temperature. The main concept what you should understand is, for example, you can see a desert here. I'm drawing it again. Desert is there, and there you can see a grassland. Right? Desert is there and grassland. Grassland, I'll use a different color now. Now this is a grassland. The concept what you have to understand is, you see the desert I have highlighted in red ink, and grassland I took a blue color. There is no clear cut boundary between a desert and a grassland. You can see this area. I want you to concentrate on this area now. I'll use a different color so that you will get still more a clear picture. See this region now. This region is formed by the overlapping of desert and grassland. So it's like after a desert, there is no clear-cut wall, and after this wall, grassland will start. No, if it is a desert, there is not at all no trees you find. As you proceed towards the grassland, you may start the number of trees going on increasing when you move from desert towards the grassland. And if you see from grassland, if you move towards from grassland to desert, you may see the number of trees counting less. Okay, so at this junction where desert and grassland is forming a junction, there, for example, if you see in desert, you can see some dedicated plants and animals living successfully there. In grassland, if you see, you can see dedicated plants and animals living successfully there. But when you come to this region, where they overlap, there you may find certain organisms which are well adapted there rather than desert or grassland. Okay, that itself forms a different habitat for that particular organisms. Likewise, you can say, I'll give you number. So this is temperate forest, you can see I am putting number 1. This is coniferous forest, you can see, fine. And this is, as usual, we studied grassland. Now if you see 1, 2 and 3, you can see this region now. This region, if you see there, that region is formed by the overlapping of 3 different types of biomes: grassland, coniferous forest and temperate forest. Why? Temperate forest will be having its own plants and animals, grassland will be having its own plants and animals, coniferous forest will be having its own plants and animals. But that junction where all the 3 biomes overlap, you find a different and species of plants and animals living there within that habitat. Fine. So this is the concept what I wanted to tell. Finally, what I want to conclude here is, there is no clear cut boundary between the biomes. So there will be a transition zone. That's what I wanted to tell. That word is not given here, but still I mentioned there will be a transition zone between the biomes. Got? So this is all about the graph what you can see in front of your screen. Now speaking about abiotic factors, we have to study in detail abiotic factors. So in your school you might have studied many number of abiotic factors, but as you know, in last year only I have mentioned to you that we are precisely sticking on to the government textbook. We are not going to study anything extra or writing. Yeah, you can study extra just for your general knowledge, not for writing in the examination. Now, speaking about the abiotic factors, we are going to study 4 major abiotic factors in our class, which I already mentioned in the previous slide. And the 4 major abiotic factors are temperature, second one is water, third one is light, and fourth one is soil. So these are the 4 abiotic factors and very important from your examination point of view. From your examination point of view. Temperature, water, light, and soil. So hence it is an introduction class. For today's session, I will stop here. So go through these slides what you paused and took a screenshot. Now the present slide also you can pause and take a screenshot and neatly write it in your notes, written notes. Study material, as I said, it is available in the college. You can purchase anytime, but I want you to maintain a neat notes so that we can allot good marks when you are going to submit. So thank you. I am signing off from today's class. Take care.